Hello everyone, thanks for tuning into today's fourth and final video. We're going to have a look at the weather, the 10 14 days for today's final video. Day 10 will take us to the 1st of October. And we'll be able to extend out beyond that with the GFS and ECM ensembles. Maybe run throughout a couple of weeks. We'll have a look at the CFS V2 at the end of the video for the next 4 weeks. Gets us into the second half of October now, and I shall get over that for you in a moment. Just say that first. Video it says our 6 AM UK weather forecast. We've also released a weekend forecast and the EC42 day out for the UK and Ireland. Check out all of today's videos and content. And thank you so much, everybody, for doing that. For GavsWeatherVids, thank you so much, everyone. Well, we've revealed another calendar image. So, of course, we are releasing the GavsWeatherVids 2025 wall calendar on the 1st of October. So, just over a week away now, 10 days away, actually. We are now revealing March's photo. The photo and the image for March 2025 in calendar. This is it. There we go, and congratulations to Mark Kanish for successfully submitting this lovely image for our 2025 calendar, and that'll be featured for the month of March. So thank you very much to Mark for that, and congratulations, my friend. Lovely, lovely photo. And as I say, we'll be doing further daily reveals all the way up to the last day of September. And then the calendar will be going on sale on the 1st of October. And I'll tell you next week how you can buy the calendar, how much it's going to cost, what you've got to do to buy it. Thank you so much, everybody, for submitting their photos and making the 2025 GavsWeatherVids calendar such a tremendous success. Thank you so much, everyone, and congratulations again to Mark Kanish. Right, let's start the video then. I'm going to start off with sensing temperature. CT is now up to 14.8, that is 1.2 degrees above the 61 to 1990 average. It's provisional to yesterday, to the 20th of September. I think that's about as high as it's going to get. It might tick up just another 0.1 of a degree or so. So tomorrow it might be up to about 14.9. We might just about push it up to 15 degrees, but then next week we should see this coming down. So these are the 500 millibar high tolerance flow charts for Penn State University for next week, 10 days. We've got the ECM WF on the top and the GFS down here on the bottom. 500 millibars, 80 pounds beats. There's an area in the atmosphere, high pressure and low pressure are being moved around by a jet stream running above. Red and orange extrapolates to above average height, which is high pressure. Blue to below average height, which is low pressure. Check out the ECM in a 7 to 10 day time frame, pushing the trough of low pressure to the northeast and potentially bring the wind in from a northwesterly direction. So unsettled, showery, and possibly a little bit cooler as well. But GFS is very similar. The only difference is that we've got, again, that trough of low pressure through the north of West Europe. That's a little bit deeper, and so rather more unsettled, if anything. But both the options sort of sending the trough to the northeast and pulling in quite a chilly and, dare I say it, quite cold sort of northwesterly to northerly flow in the 7 to 10 day time frame. We see this very nicely with the GFS upper air temperature and precipitation ensembles over the next couple of weeks. Red line is a 30-year upper air temperature average for London, so obviously we're starting off above average at the moment, but really the trend with the upper air temperatures and the surface temperatures is downhill all the way now, becoming actually really quite cold for the time of the year when we get through to the second half of next week. Upper air temperatures are going down pretty close to -5 at 850 HPA. That is very, very chilly, if not cold air, for so early in the season. We do see the upper air temperatures then starting to recover into the beginning of October, and we return back closer to average. So again, similar to what we had like about a week or so ago, a short sharp shock of cold air plunging in from the north, and then a recovery in the temperature as we get into the beginning of October. But interesting how we're getting these repeated northerly shots at the moment. So that's something to keep an eye on as we progress further on through the autumn, of course. Precipitation-wise, lots of rain to come. over the next week as well. So not only cooling down and becoming cold, but also turning very wet as well in the weekend. There's a window of slightly drier weather maybe into the beginning of October, but then later on through the first week of October, it might start to turn more unsettled once again. Temperature anomalies from the 21st, 29th of September, a little bit below average now. That's a change on recent days. And precipitation anomalies from the 21st, 29th of September. Well, drier than average in the north, but substantially and significantly wetter than normal for England and Wales. Goodness gracious me, could be in for a bit of a deluge over the next week through central, southern, and southeastern parts of England. The latest wind from that from earthnullschool.net shows that we've got a thundery low around Biscay that is now starting to edge northwards. So high pressure is still dominating the weather away to the north up here, but is gradually weakening and retreating, and the trend over the coming days will be initially to move low pressure up from the south, and then eventually by the middle of next week low pressure will head in from the Atlantic, just generally turn the weather much more unsettled and also colder for all areas. So sorry everyone. Right, let's start going through chart data. Let's have a latest UK Met Euro run. It's looking big night on Tuesday. So the thundery trough will then be clearing away by Tuesday. But notice low pressure is out in the Atlantic. Check out what happens through Wednesday and Thursday. A big old dartboard comes sweeping in, bring lots of wet and windy weather in with it. That low pressure then clears out to Denmark by Friday and pulls in this Arctic northerly once again. And by next weekend, well, we're still in those very chilly northwesterly, northerly winds. Winds begin to bat round maybe a little bit more to the west, but I think next weekend is shaping up to be quite cold, especially so at night as we begin to build perhaps a bit of a transient ridge in from off the Atlantic. Icon once again taking that low pressure away to the east on Tuesday, and then turning wet and windy through the middle part next week with low pressure bringing spells of rain, and eventually as the low clears way to the east, we bring down this cold northerly again, very similar to what we had about a week or so ago. That's how we end up with Icon. So a little transient ridge there through the country next Saturday. But notice the next low to the west of the southwest of the UK and Ireland, that probably is heading our way to bring a wet and windy second half to next weekend. How's the KMA looking? So again, we're watching low pressure bringing wet weather in the middle part of next week. Some very heavy rain mixed in with that as the low clears out to the east through the second half of next week. Wind turns into back to northerly direction, so cold northerly winds could bring some wintry showers, would you believe, into northern Scotland, and an increasing risk of overnight frost by next weekend as wind falls light. And then, well, very similar to Icon, we've got this low pressure lurking just to the southwest of the country by the second half next weekend. That starts to bring a proper old spell of wet and windy weather across the country to the closing days of September. Gale force winds out. If that came off, that would probably be a rainstorm, I reckon. So cold, and then very so wet, then cold, and then very wet and windy, possibly even a little bit stormy by the end of September. Into the beginning of October, unsettled weather continues with KMA as that low pressure carries on, heading in from the Atlantic, looking very autumnal on the KMA run today. GFS midnight run, all much of a muchness for Tuesday as the low pressure clearing out to the east, and then the next low coming in through the country through Wednesday and Thursday, bringing plenty of wet weather in with it. We might get a weather front that gets strung out down across the south and southeast through Wednesday, Thursday, possibly into Friday, but could bring some very wet weather for the south and the southeast. Meanwhile, the northern half of the country, northern area should be drier with these northerly winds, but colder as well, and that's where we get risk of overnight frost and whatnot. Well, we get into next weekend anyway. It all simplifies as we go into this northerly, northwesterly. Then a little transient ridge builds through the country through days 8, 9 and 10. Could be quite cold and about high pressure by night. Into early October, high pressure comes back and actually becomes warmer actually through the first week of October. Winds coming up from southwest, so mostly dry in the south. quite warm, still a little bit unsettled in the north. What about 6 ahead? Excuse me. But again, low pressure is in control and in the ascendancy for the middle part of the coming week. By the end of next week, low pressure getting out of the way, and the wind is turning into a colder northerly as well. -5 cells isotope getting close to northern Scotland, can you believe? Beyond that, into next weekend, a ridge of high pressure building through the country. That should bring some drier but potentially cold weather. And then in comes this low pressure for the last day of September, bringing plenty of wet and windy weather in with it. And then, very different with 6 to the midnight run, high pressure establishes away to the northwest. We start to bring down these quite cold north-northeasterly winds through the first week of October. So the midnight GFS run tries to settle things down and warm things up through the first week of October. The 6 keeps things rather unsettled, or certainly rather showery, but is colder as well, with winds in from the north-northeast. And there will be a risk of overnight ground frost, maybe in the north, air frost there through the first week of October. This is the 10-day, excuse me, this is the 10-day accumulated precipitation forecast based on that GFS 6 run, by the way. Notice much of England and Wales having quite a wet week, even in the south, in the next 10 days. Even in the south, we're up to about 50 millimetres, but through some parts of Wales, the Midlands, we see over 100 millimetres of rain being forecast there in the next 10 days. So that is over 4 inches of rain, about 4.5 inches of rain in some parts of central England. Could be a bit of a deluge, and there would be the risk of localised flooding with that coming through at times as well. So that's one to watch. Well, if you enjoyed the video, please like, share and subscribe. Make sure to everyone for doing that. Drop a comment. Let us know what you think about this and all of our videos and content. And don't forget to tell your friends about GavsWeatherVids and get them to subscribe too. And we thank you so much, everybody, for doing that. 35 subscribers will get us to 18.8k. So if you could give us a sub, tell your friends and family to subscribe, that'd be absolutely awesome. Thank you so much, everyone, for doing that. GEM, again, taking that low pressure away to the east on Tuesday, and then bringing more low pressure in for the Atlantic through Wednesday and Thursday. Bit of a dartboard with wet, windy conditions likely. By the end of the week, the low pressure gets out to the east. The winds turn into the north, so becoming colder by the end of next week. Into next weekend, we cut off the northerly quite quickly, bring the wind back around to the west, so becoming less cold next weekend. Still quite changeable, though, in the north. We end up the GM with southerlies by the first day of October, becoming a lot milder then, or possibly even warmer. And then lastly, we've got the ECM. Again, we're taking that low pressure away to the east on Tuesday, more low pressure waiting in the winds in the Atlantic. Through Wednesday and Thursday, low pressure bring plenty of wet weather, particularly focused on England and Wales. The low pressure gets out into the North Sea by Friday. Down comes this cold northerly wind. Northerly or northwesterly stays with us into Saturday. Then a ridge builds through the country, could be quite cold by night, and that area of high pressure heading up towards days 9 and 10, but next road bringing further wet and windy weather in from off the Atlantic. This is a precipitation forecast based on the ECM run from Tibet.com. Plenty of heavy showers, thunderstorms and longer spells of rain to come across England and Wales through the rest of this weekend and lasting into the beginning of next week as well. It's not till about Tuesday where all of that gets out of the way and we turn a little bit drier, although there is some rain up in the north then. Then head through to Wednesday and Thursday with further wet weather piling in from off the Atlantic, bouts of rain and, you know, some very wet weather to come then. Then we're into those northerly winds, so it turns drier. Will still be showers in the north and around the coast, some wintry showers across the far north of Scotland and through mountainous areas as well. And then it turns drier through next weekend, but will be quite cold and about high pressure. We're back to wet weather piling in from the Atlantic though by day 10. These are the yachts on the table within the ECM ensembles today for day 10. from the Icelandic Met Office gets us to the 1st of October. 16 mils of the ECM ensembles with high pressure to the west, low pressure to the east. That should be relatively dry, but it's likely to be quite chilly. We've got 11 with low pressure west-southwest, and so that could be a bit showery. Should be relatively mild though, or warm. 8 with high pressure over top of the coast. That should be mainly dry. Could be a bit cold under the high. Another 8 with low pressure to the east, high pressure to the northwest. That's going to be showery and quite cold. And then we've got a further 8, including the control and the operational run, that it brings low pressure off the Atlantic, so unsettled still at daytime with those. And then in 2 weeks' time, these are the options that we've got. It gets us to the 6th of October. 90 mils of the ECM ensembles have high pressure reaching through the coast. That should be mainly dry. They could be a bit cold by night in that area of high pressure, but should be mostly dry and quite pleasant by day. 16 with high pressure up towards Scandinavia. Winds coming in from an easterly direction. That's going to be mostly dry, could be a bit chilly. And they've got 16, number 16, with low pressure to the northeast, high pressure to the northwest, and we're bringing in quite a cool or even relatively cold northwesterly flow, and that's going to be the most unsettled of the 3 options, of course. So a range of options at both day 10 and day 14. Taking us out through the first week of October, there is quite a lot of uncertainty within the model output at the moment. We'll keep you posted. CFS-B2 finally beats a 500 millibar high tolerance, bringing down into week periods. The first week period takes us from the 21st, 27th of September. Next week has a low pressure through the north and west Europe, high pressure blocking up towards Greenland. So that's looking quite cold and wet. In the week ahead, week 2 also looks unsettled. It's the 28th of September, 4th of October. 12th of low pressure in Scandinavia, high pressure in the Atlantic. In comes these northwesterly to northerly winds, cold and showery for weeks 1 and 2. Week 3 will be the 5th to the 11th of October. High pressure then builds up from the south, low pressure way toward Greenland, Iceland, gesturing going into southwest, so becoming warmer and turning dry in the south anyway. And then this week 4 is the 12th to the 18th of October, with a nice area of high pressure right over the top of Western Europe. That's settling things down, and that can be very pleasant. That's a bit cold by night with mists and fog and ground frost, but by day should be relatively dry and quite warm. Once the fog burns off, though. Anyway, it's 4 weeks away, so long way out. We'll have to wait and see. Right, we're done. If you enjoyed the video, please like, share, and subscribe. Make sure to show everyone for doing that. Drop a comment as to say what you think about this and all of our videos and content. Don't forget to tell your friends about GavsWeatherVids. Get them to subscribe to. And we thank you so much, everyone, for doing that. I'll just tell us having on the channel tomorrow. So we've got 6 AM UK weather forecast coming up. Got the epic, and it will be an epic, 4th winter 2024-25 update on the way at 10 AM. And then we will be live at 5:30 tomorrow for the live stream, as I'm off into the cinema on Sunday evening to see Star Wars. So the live stream is going to be half an hour earlier to start and ending half an hour earlier as well, 5:30 to 6:30. We'll discuss the 4th winter update. We'll do a 10 to 40 day. And, of course, we will be showing you some long range from CFS and probably the Beijing Climate Centre on that live stream as well. Right, then, so I've got a busy afternoon, evening ahead, getting the 4th winter update together. Whatever you're doing this afternoon and this evening, you enjoy the rest of your Saturday. And for this one, that's all for now. And thanks for watching. See you tomorrow.